If you want to learn from watching people, from observing them pair programming, it's actually really quite important that you're not just watching the code. In fact, what's more important, I think, a lot of the time, is watching the body language, the non-verbal communication, how it relates with the communication which is happening or not happening verbally, and with the code which is written. Look at the position of the keyboard and mouse. Look at how the driving is happening and at what level. Look at how quickly the code is being created, and look at the level of communication. Now, experienced Agile teams with good pair programmers who are familiar with each other may well do a lot of non-verbal communication. Expect at the start effective verbal communication coming first. It always happens that way. You can't really do non-verbal stuff until you're really quite familiar with your partner. And it takes time, and everybody takes time to learn, and that should be perfectly acceptable. In fact, trying to shortcut and bypass that process really is a classic mistake which people make. You might think you're familiar with pair programming, but unless you get to know and spend the time to invest in verbal communication first, if it's an unfamiliar partner, you may well start failing pretty quick. So, you should be observing verbal communication initially. When people have new partners, you expect to talk, and initially it might not simply be code focused. In fact, I would expect the first verbal communication to be non-code focused. Hello, welcome, who are you, etc. Now, then you're probably going to have to talk about the task and some other stuff like that, and only then move on to code. Hopefully, what will happen then is, if it's an experienced pair which are working well together, you'll see much more non-verbal communication. Now, you should also look for non-verbal communication as signs when stuff really isn't going so well. So, if mouse and keyboard are split between the participants, that is an argumentative sign. If they've turned to face each other, it means they've disconnected from the task. If they're facing in opposite directions, one towards the code and the driver's sitting back, that almost certainly means you've got disengagement. And that's a time where, if you're an observer, you need to actively change something. Now, you need then to work out what's gone wrong and why it's gone wrong and what you need to do about it. And that's quite difficult, but that'll be for another day. For once, just start by observing, look, see, learn, and then consider intervention. Pair programming, not an easy thing to watch.